The coffee in my cup has gone cold. I haven't touched it in 20 minutes. My lawyer, Miss Rebecca, sits across from me in her bright office. Papers cover the desk between us. Important papers. Life-changing papers. My phone lights up again on the table. Tyler's name appears on the screen. That's the 52nd time he's called since Monday. I don't pick up. Haven't picked up since Wednesday morning. Miss Rebecca looks at me with kind eyes. She speaks softly but seriously. Mrs. Anderson, she asks, do you really want to do this? Are you 100% sure about this decision? My hand shakes a little as I reach for the pen. It's a black pen. Heavy. The kind that feels important when you hold it. I can hear cars driving past outside the window. I can hear the air conditioner humming above us. I can smell Miss Rebecca's coffee. Smells like vanilla. My heart beats fast in my chest. Bang, bang, bang. Like drums. 4 words. Just 4 simple words. That's what I said to Tyler yesterday on the phone. 4 words that made him go completely silent. 4 words that changed our whole relationship forever. Hi viewers, please tell us where you're watching from and what time it is right now. 3 weeks ago, everything was different. I was standing in a fancy hotel. The hotel had white columns and shiny floors. I was holding a small gift bag with ribbon on it. Inside the bag was $2,000 in cash. Every dollar I'd saved from selling my paintings at the art fair. I'd worked at that fair every single weekend for 8 months. My back hurt from standing. My fingers hurt from painting. But I wanted to help Tyler and his bride, Nicole. I wanted their special day to be perfect. I watched Tyler laugh with his best man, James. His bow tie was crooked. It always got crooked when he got excited. He looked so handsome in his black suit. His dad would have been so proud to see him. His dad, Robert. He died when Tyler was only 11 years old. A truck hit Robert's car on the highway. I had to raise Tyler all by myself after that. Just me and him. I worked 3 jobs sometimes. I cleaned houses in the morning. I worked at the grocery store in the afternoon. I painted pictures at night to sell. Also, Tyler could have good things. So he could go to college. So he could have a better life than me. But standing in that hotel, I didn't know what was about to happen. I didn't know that in 30 minutes, my only son would tell me to leave his wedding. I didn't know he would pick a girl he'd known for 18 months over the mom who raised him for 26 years. I didn't know everything I'd done wouldn't matter when it counted. But that's not the end of this story. That's just the beginning. Because the next day when my phone rang and Tyler's face showed up on my screen when I heard him say, "Mom, I need those property papers," something changed inside me. Something hard. Something cold. Something that wouldn't bend anymore. I put the pen on the paper. The pen makes a scratching sound. Like tearing cloth. Sarah Marie Anderson. I write each letter slowly. Carefully. Forever. This one too, Miss Rebecca says, tapping another paper. I sign that paper. Then another. Then one more. My name gets easier to write each time. Faster. More sure. Miss Rebecca signs too. Her signature is neat and perfect. My phone buzzes again on the table. Tyler, call 53. There's something else I need, I tell Miss Rebecca. My voice doesn't shake at all. I need to make a phone call right now. She nods her head and pushes her office phone toward me. The phone is heavy and cold in my hand. I press the numbers I know so well. Ring. 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 Hello. Tyler's voice sounds tired. Worried. Mom. Is that you? Are you there? I look at all the signed papers on the desk. I look at Miss Rebecca's calm face. I look at the rain dropping down the window outside. Tyler, I say clearly. Listen very carefully to me. I'm only going to say this one time. The words come out of my mouth. 4 words that will stay with him forever. 4 words that make Miss Rebecca's eyes get big. 4 words that make Tyler stop breathing on the phone. But I'm not telling you those words yet. Not until you understand the whole story. Not until you feel what I felt standing in that hotel ballroom. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped my champagne glass. I watched Tyler walk toward me with a look on his face. A look that said he'd already decided. A look that said nothing I said would change his mind. The hotel ballroom was so hot. Even with the air conditioning running, sweat made my dress stick to my back. I'd been standing by the food table for 30 minutes, just watching, waiting, trying to smile. My dress was dark green, long sleeves. The kind of dress Tyler said Nicole wanted mothers to wear. I'd paid $185 for it at the mall. Money I needed for other things. But this was Tyler's wedding day. Nothing else mattered except being there for him. I'd driven 5 hours to get to this hotel. I left home at 4 in the morning. So early the sun wasn't even up yet. I drove through darkness, through fog, through rain. I stopped one time for bathroom and coffee. I got to the hotel 3 hours before the wedding started, just in case Tyler needed anything. Tyler texted me at 6:30. "We're all set, Mom. Just relax and have fun today." So I relaxed. I talked to people I didn't know. I smiled at Nicole's family. I met Tyler's college friends. I held my glass and pretended my shoes didn't hurt. The wedding was so beautiful. Nicole wore a long white dress with tiny diamonds sewn into it. The dress probably cost more than my rent for 3 months. The flowers everywhere must have cost a fortune. But I didn't say anything about money. I just smiled. I cried happy tears. I clapped when the preacher said, "I now announce you husband and wife." I'd brought a card for Tyler and Nicole. A white card with silver writing. Inside the card was $2,000 cash. All the money I'd saved from my weekend art fairs for 8 months. My feet hurt from standing at those fairs. My shoulders ached from carrying my paintings. But Tyler asked if I could help with wedding costs. What kind of mother says no to that? The card was in my purse still. I was going to give it to Tyler when we had a quiet moment. Maybe when we could talk alone. When I could hug him tight. When I could tell him how proud I was. How much I loved him. How much his daddy would have loved seeing this day. His daddy, Robert. Gone 14 years now. Heart attack took him at 43 years old. Too young. Way too young. I still see Robert's smile sometimes when Tyler smiles. I still hear Robert's laugh when Tyler laughs. Robert would have worn a funny tie today. He would have danced with me. He would have embarrassed Tyler with dad jokes. But Robert wasn't here. Just me. Standing alone. Holding my champagne. Trying not to cry. I turned around fast. Tyler stood right there. 5 feet away from me. His face looked hard. His jaw muscles were working. Moving under his skin. I knew that expression. I'd seen it when he was 9 and wanted to climb the biggest tree. When he was 15 and told me he was trying out for football. When he was 23 and said he was moving to another state for work. It was the face that meant he'd made up his mind. Nothing would change it. "The ceremony was perfect, sweetie," I said. My voice sounded happy. Normal. Nicole looked like a princess. "You two are so. You need to go," he said. The words hit me like ice water. Like a punch. Like tripping and falling hard. People around us were dancing. Laughing. Drinking. Celebrating. Someone's aunt was doing a funny dance near the DJ. Her arms waving. Her feet shuffling. The music was loud. Some song I'd never heard before. The beat made the floor shake under my feet. "What did you say?" I couldn't hear right. The music was too loud. Too many people talking. My ears felt like they had cotton in them. "You need to go now," Tyler said again. He wouldn't look at my face. His eyes stared past me. Like he was talking to the wall behind me instead of his mother. "Nicole doesn't want you here. You're making her upset." My champagne glass felt slippery. But I squeezed it harder so I wouldn't drop it. If I dropped it, everyone would look. Everyone would know something was wrong. Everyone would know the groom's mother was causing problems. "Tyler, honey, I haven't even talked to her since the... Just leave, Mom." Now he looked right at me. His eyes were cold. Me. Like looking at a stranger's eyes. "Please don't make this harder than it is." Harder? How was I making things hard? Me. The woman who raised him alone after his daddy died. who worked morning, noon, and night so he could have music lessons and sports camps and nice clothes, who held him when he had bad dreams and helped him with hard homework and hugged him when Jessica Turner broke his heart in 10th grade, who took out loans to help pay for his college when his scholarship money wasn't enough, who drove 5 hours in the dark this morning just to see him get married. Tyler, baby. My throat felt tight, like someone was squeezing it. Each word hurt to say. I drove 5 hours to be here. I haven't done anything wrong. I've barely even. Nicole thinks it's better if you go home, he said quietly. Like he didn't want anyone to hear him. Like he was ashamed but not ashamed enough to stop. She says you're nosy. That you try to control everything. That you've been staring at her weird all day. Nosy. The word felt like a slap. I'd given Nicole space when they started dating. Lots of space. I didn't call too much. Didn't visit without asking first. I'd smiled when Nicole stayed in my spare bedroom for 4 months and never bought groceries or helped clean. I'd kept my mouth shut when she picked this expensive hotel that cost $35,000 and asked if I could chip in. I chipped in $2,000. $2,000 that was every penny from 8 months of weekend work. Every night I was too tired to cook dinner. Every morning I woke up with pain in my back and blisters on my feet. And I'd been staring weird. I'd been nosy. I tried to control things. Nicole's waiting for you to leave, Tyler said. He looked back toward the main table where the bride and groom sat. I looked too. Nicole sat there in her sparkly white dress, her veil still on her head. She watched us. Her face looked calm, peaceful. But her eyes were hard. She held her champagne in one hand. Her lips smiled but her eyes didn't. A smile that felt dangerous. She's really stressed, Tyler kept talking. This is her big day. Her special day. I don't want her to be upset or sad. Her special day. Not their special day. Not our special day. Just hers. I looked at my son. Really looked. 26 years old. College graduate. Good job at an advertising company. Nice apartment. Nice car. He looked successful. Like someone who had life figured out. But standing there in his expensive suit, in this expensive hotel, asking his mother to leave because his new wife didn't like her. He looked like a complete stranger to me. Are you really sure about this? My voice came out steady somehow. I don't know how I sounded so calm. Are you absolutely positive this is what you want? He didn't even pause. Didn't even think about it for 1 second. Just go home. We'll talk about this later. Later. Everything was always later with Tyler these days. We'll talk later about Thanksgiving dinner. Later about Christmas plans. Later about why he hadn't called me in 4 weeks. Later about why he forgot my birthday last month. Later. 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 I set my champagne glass down on the white tablecloth. It made a small clinking sound. A waiter nearby glanced over. Then looked away fast when he saw my face. Could he tell what was happening? Could everyone see that the groom's mother was being kicked out? "'Kay then," I said. I didn't hug Tyler. Didn't kiss his cheek. Didn't touch him at all. I just turned around and walked. Walked through the ballroom with my head held high. My back straight. My purse tight under my arm. The music got louder. Or maybe it just felt louder. The laughing sounded mean now. Every person I walked past felt like they were judging me. Staring at me. Did they know? Could they all see? The groom's mother leaving in the middle of his wedding reception. My heels clicking on the shiny floor. Click, click, click. The outside air hit me like a wave when I pushed through the glass doors. So hot. The parking lot stretched out forever. Rows and rows of cars shining in the sun. My car was way at the back. In the far corner. Because I'd gotten here so early this morning. Small blue car. 17 years old. With a scratch on the side. From when I'd scraped against a fence post last year. I walked across the hot parking lot. The heat came up through my shoes. Made my feet burn. Sweat ran down my back. Down my face. By the time I got to my car I was soaking wet. With sweat. Or tears. Maybe both. I sat in the driver's seat and turned the key. The air conditioning blew hot air at first, then slowly got cooler. I could see the hotel in my mirror. A big beautiful building with stone walls and green vines growing up the sides. Big windows. Inside my son was celebrating, dancing, eating fancy food, drinking expensive drinks, toasting to his future with his new wife. And I was sitting alone in a parking lot, still holding my purse with a card inside. The card with $2,000. 5 hours home. I drove in total silence. No music, no radio, no nothing. Just the sound of my tires on the road. Other cars passing me. The air conditioner blowing. The sun moved across the sky. Got lower. Disappeared behind the hills. Everything went dark except for headlights and streetlights. I stopped once at a gas station. The place was empty except for a young guy behind the counter. He didn't even look up from his phone. Paid for gas. Used the restroom. Bought a bottle of water that I never drank. Then got back in my car and drove more. My house looked different when I finally got home around 11 at night. Or maybe I was different. The porch light was on because I'd left it on this morning. A million years ago. The house sat dark and quiet except for that one yellow light. Nobody home. Nobody to tell about the wedding. Nobody to hold me while I fell apart. I sat in my car for a long time. Just sitting there. Staring at my house. The house I'd bought with Robert 32 years ago. When we were young and happy and so in love. The house where we'd brought baby Tyler home from the hospital. Where we'd had birthday parties and holiday dinners and graduation celebrations. Where Robert had died in our bed. His hand getting cold while I held it. While I screamed for help that came too late. The front yard needed mowing. I could see the tall grass even in the darkness. The bushes were getting too big. The mailbox was leaning to one side. The fence around the workshop needed fixing. Some boards were loose. 65 acres of land. Most days it felt like way too much. Too big. Too much work. Too many memories pressing down on me. But it was mine. My great-uncle had bought this land back in 1948. My daddy had taken care of it for 35 years. Robert and I had made it into a real home. And someday I'd always believed, someday it would belong to Tyler. I got out of the car finally. The night was cool now. It smelled like grass and dirt and pine trees. Crickets were singing all around me. An owl hooted somewhere far away. I walked to the back porch and sat down on the wooden steps. I didn't go inside the house. I just sat there. I didn't cry. Still couldn't cry. The tears were stuck somewhere deep inside. Behind a wall I couldn't break through. Maybe I was too tired to cry. Maybe too hurt. Maybe too numb to feel anything real anymore. I made myself tea when the sky started getting light. Peppermint tea. Robert used to drink peppermint tea when he had trouble sleeping. I never liked it before. But now it reminded me of him. Of us sitting in the kitchen at 2 in the morning when baby Tyler had ear infections and wouldn't stop crying. Of laughing even though we were exhausted and scared and had no idea what we were doing. The sun came up orange and pink. Birds started their morning songs. The world kept moving like nothing had happened. Like my son hadn't just broken my heart into a million tiny pieces. The phone rang at 8:15. I was outside in my vegetable garden. Pulling weeds. Getting dirt under my fingernails. My knees hurt from kneeling. My back ached from sleeping on the porch steps. But the pain felt almost good. Something real. Something I could understand and explain. Pulled out my phone. Tyler's name on the screen. For just a second I thought maybe he was calling to say sorry. To say he'd made a terrible mistake. To beg me to forgive him for embarrassing me in front of all those people. For throwing away 26 years of love because his new wife didn't want me there. I answered the phone. Mom, hey there. His voice sounded cheerful. Happy. Like yesterday never even happened. Like we just talked last week about normal everyday things. I got a quick question for you. Can you send me those property papers? The land deed. I sat back on the ground. A butterfly flew past my face. It landed on the tomato plant next to me. Its wings were orange and black. Pretty. The morning sun felt warm on my arms. What property papers? Yes. My voice sounded strange. Far away. Like someone else was talking through my mouth. For the land here in Colorado, he said. So casual. So easy. Like he was asking to borrow my car. Me and Nicole were talking last night. We think it would be absolutely perfect for building on. Her cousin is a builder. Really successful. Makes tons of money. He says we could split the land into pieces and build maybe 8 or 9 houses on it. Houses are selling like crazy right now. We could make so much money. Building on it. Split the land. 8 or 9 houses. On my family's land. On my great-uncle's land. On the 65 acres that had been in our family for 76 years. The butterfly opened and closed its wings slowly. I watched it. So simple. So peaceful. Not worrying about anything. We'd give you part of the money, obviously, Tyler kept talking. His voice had that excited sound he got when he thought he had a brilliant idea. Probably 50-50 since we'd be doing all the actual work and everything. But you'd still make maybe $300,000. Maybe even more if we sell the houses for the right price. Then you could buy a smaller place. Something easier. Something you could actually take care of by yourself. Smaller. Easier. Like the 65 acres my great-uncle died protecting wasn't important. Like the home I'd built with Robert was just too much trouble. Nicole actually looked up this really nice retirement village about 15 minutes from where we live, Tyler said. Super nice place. They have game nights and a swimming pool and everything. You'd really love it there, I think. I'm 56 years old, Tyler. Right, yeah, I know that. He actually laughed. Real laugh. But you know, someday you're going to need something easier to manage. Less stuff to worry about. This way you'd have the money saved up and ready. Just smart thinking, Mom. Planning ahead. Smart thinking. My son wanted to destroy my family's history. Turn my great-uncle's dream into cash. Put me in a retirement home. And he called it smart thinking. So can you overnight the deed to me? Tyler asked. We want to get started on this right away. Nicole's cousin has a meeting with some money people on Friday. He needs to show them the property documents. Friday. 4 days from now. He wanted me to hand over 76 years of family history in 4 days. So his wife's cousin could impress some rich investors. Tyler, I said slowly. Carefully. About what happened yesterday at your wedding. Right, yeah. He cut me off like he'd just remembered something small. Sorry about all that. Nicole was just really stressed out. You know how brides get on their wedding day. Anxiety and stuff. But it's totally fine now. Everything's completely fine. Everything's fine. He'd humiliated me. Forced me to drive 5 hours home all alone. Made me feel tiny and worthless and throwaway. But everything was fine now. 'Cause he wanted something from me. So about those papers. His voice had an impatient edge now. Getting annoyed. Can you send them today? I can text you the address where to send them overnight. I thought about my great-uncle. About the stories my daddy used to tell me. How Uncle Ray worked on the railroad 12 hours every single day. How he lost his hearing in one ear from an explosion. How he kept working anyway because Great-Aunt Helen was pregnant with their first baby. How he saved every single penny for years and years until he finally had enough to buy this land. $4,000 in 1948. Might as well have been $4 million for a man who'd lost his hearing. I thought about my daddy spending every weekend for 35 years taking care of this property. Building the workshop with his own 2 hands. Took him 4 whole summers. Planting the apple trees that are now 40 feet tall. Making something that would last forever. Something nobody could steal. I thought about Robert making me promise before he died to keep this land in the family no matter what. His hand so cold in mine. His voice barely a whisper. Sarah, no matter what happens, no matter what, this land stays in our family. Promise me. And I thought about Nicole's smile yesterday. That mean, cold smile as she watched Tyler kick me out. That look of winning. Mom, you still on the phone? I'm here, I said. Okay, good. So can you send those papers today? Like right now. The butterfly flew away from the tomato plant. It landed on some yellow flowers by my feet. The petals were so bright they almost hurt to look at in the sunshine. The property papers, I said. Not asking. Just saying it. Yeah, the sooner the better would be great. Nicole's cousin is super excited about this whole thing. He thinks we could start building by October if we move really fast on it. Start building. Bulldozers. Construction trucks. Concrete. Destroying everything my family had made. My great-uncle's apple trees cut down and thrown away. My daddy's workshop smashed to pieces. The meadow where Robert asked me to marry him covered in cement. Mom, are you even listening to me right now? Do you remember your great-uncle's funeral? Yes. My voice was quiet but steady. Uncle Ray's funeral. When you were 19 years old. Silence on his end of the phone. You gave a speech, I continued. You stood up in front of 300 people and talked about how important this land was to him. How it represented everything good about our family. About legacy and hard work and protecting what matters most. More silence. You promised you'd watch over it, I said. You looked right at me and Grandma and promised you'd protect everything he'd built. Do you remember saying that? Mom, that was totally different. His voice changed. Got defensive. Annoyed. I was basically still a kid back then. You were 19 years old, Tyler. Old enough to understand what a promise means. Yeah, well, people say things at funerals, he shot back. It's emotional. You can't seriously hold me to something You also said your great-uncle would be so proud of you, I interrupted him. That you'd make sure his dreams stayed alive. That this land would stay in our family for generation after generation. And it will stay in the family, Tyler said loudly. It'll be mine eventually anyway. I'm just trying to make it work for us right now. Make it actually useful. Make some money off it instead of just letting it sit there doing nothing. Just sitting there doing nothing. Like 65 acres of protected land had no value. Like keeping family history alive was stupid. Like everything my great-uncle and daddy worked for was just wasted space waiting to be sold. So you're saying no then? His voice went ice cold. Hard as stone. You won't send me the papers. I could hear Nicole in the background. Her voice sharp and demanding. Is she being difficult again? Difficult. That's what I was to them. Difficult for wanting to protect my family's legacy. Difficult for not immediately saying yes to destroying 76 years of history for money. Tyler, I need to hang up now. Wait, Mom, seriously. We really need those papers. This is a huge chance for us. Don't you want me to be successful? I'd wanted him to be successful since the second he was born. I'd wanted it so much I'd given up everything for it. My own dreams. My own life. My health. My savings. Every single thing I had went into making sure Tyler could succeed. And this is what I got for it. A son who threw me out of his wedding. Who called the next day demanding I give him my family's land. I'll call you back later, I said. When? Impatience made his voice sharp and mean. Mom, this is time sensitive. We can't just sit around waiting while you hung up the phone. It rang again immediately. I didn't answer. It rang again. And again. And again. By the time I'd finished weeding my whole vegetable garden, Tyler had called 8 more times. I ignored every single one. I went inside, washed my hands, made lunch for myself. Turkey sandwich, some carrot sticks, a glass of cold lemonade. I sat on the back porch and ate slowly, carefully, watching the apple trees sway in the wind. My phone buzzed with a text message. I looked at it. Mom, this is crazy. Call me back. Then another one. You're being selfish. Then another. Nicole's cousin needs an answer by tomorrow. Then another. I can't believe you're doing this to me. To him. I was doing something to him. Not him doing something to me. Not him kicking me out of his wedding. Not him demanding my property. Not him calling me selfish and difficult and nosy. I was the problem. Me. The mother who'd sacrificed everything. I finished my lunch. Washed my plate and cup. Put them away. The afternoon sun came through the kitchen windows. Dust floated in the light beams. The house was so quiet I could hear everything. The clock ticking in the hallway. The refrigerator humming. The old house creaking and settling. My phone rang. A voicemail showed up. I put it on speaker and listened while I wiped down the kitchen counter. Mom, it's me. Tyler's voice was tight. Really mad. I don't know what your problem is, but this is my inheritance too. My inheritance. Dad would have wanted me to have this land. You're being controlling again. Just like Nicole said you are. Just like you've always been. Just send me the papers. Stop making everything so difficult all the time. I deleted the voicemail. The phone rang again right away. Nicole's name this time. I watched it ring and ring until it stopped. Then I listened to her voicemail too. Hi there, Mom. She'd never called me Mom before. Always Sarah. The fake sweetness in her voice made me want to throw up. This is Nicole calling. I think maybe there's been some kind of misunderstanding here. Tyler and I love you so much. We just want what's best for everyone involved. The land development would be so amazing for your future. For your retirement. You could finally just relax and not worry about anything. Can we maybe talk about this like grown adults? I really think we just need to sit down and have a nice calm talk together. Like grown adults. The same woman who had me thrown out of her wedding yesterday. The same woman pushing my son to take my family's land. She wanted to talk like grown adults. I deleted her voicemail too. Evening came slowly. The sky turned orange, then pink, then purple. I made peppermint tea and sat in Robert's old recliner. The brown leather chair. It was worn now. Cracked in places where his body had pressed against it for so many years. But it still smelled like him somehow. Like coffee and sawdust and home. What should I do? I asked the empty room. If you were here right now, if you could see what Tyler's become, what would you tell me to do? The clock on the wall ticked. Outside, a coyote howled far away in the distance. The sound was lonely and sad and wild. The phone rang at 8:30. Tyler again. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I answered it. Finally. He sounded tired. Defeated. Desperate. Please. We can figure this out together. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't shut me out like this. Sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Okay, I said. Let's talk about it then. Look, I get that you're attached to the land, he said. I totally understand that. But you need to be realistic here. You're not getting any younger. The work is too much for just one person. And the land is just sitting there not making any money at all. We could turn it into something valuable. Something that actually generates income and makes all our lives better. Your great-uncle paid $4,000 for this land in 1948, I said. Do you know what he had to do to earn that money? Mom, I don't need a history lesson right now. He worked on the railroad. 12-hour shifts in all kinds of weather. He lost his hearing in one ear from an explosion. But he kept working because Great-Aunt Helen was pregnant. He wanted to give his family something permanent. Something real. Something nobody could ever take away from them. Silence on the other end. Your daddy spent every weekend for 35 years taking care of this land, I continued. He planted those apple trees for you, Tyler. For his grandchildren. For his great-grandchildren. He built that workshop with his own 2 hands so future generations would have something solid. Something that would last forever. That's a sweet story, Tyler said. His voice was flat. Bored. Unimpressed. But this is about business, Mom. This is about making smart choices for our future. Me and Nicole's future. We can respect the past while still moving forward into the future. Our future. Not my future. Not the family's future. His and Nicole's future. Do you know what your father said right before he died? The words came out before I could stop them. Tyler went completely silent. I could hear him breathing. Could hear something moving in the background. Probably Nicole listening to every word. He made me promise to keep this land in the family, I said. It was one of the last things he said to me. He grabbed my hand so hard it hurt. And he made me swear. Sarah, no matter what happens, this land stays in our family. No matter what. Dad's been dead for 14 years, Mom. Tyler's voice was cold again. Far away. Things change. Life moves on. You can't live in the past your whole life. Things change. My husband's dying promise reduced to things change. The sacrifice of generations thrown away with life moves on. You're absolutely right, I said. My voice was very calm. Very quiet. Very controlled. Things do change. People change. So you'll send the papers then. Hope jumped into his voice. Excitement. We can do this together, Mom. As a real family. Everyone benefits from this. I looked around my living room. Photographs covered every single wall. Tyler at 4 years old. Missing his front teeth. Smiling big. Holding a puppy we'd gotten from the shelter. Tyler at 10 with his first baseball trophy. Tyler at 17 in his prom tuxedo. Standing between me and Robert. Looking so grown up. Tyler at 21 with his college diploma. The diploma I'd worked 70-hour weeks to help pay for. Every photograph a memory. Every memory a sacrifice. Every sacrifice meaningless now. Mom, are you still there? Yesterday at your wedding, I said slowly. When you told me to leave the hotel. God, are we seriously going back to that again? Anger exploded in his voice. I already said I was sorry. What else do you want from me? You said Nicole was stressed. That's not a real apology, Tyler. He sighed. Big and dramatic and annoyed. Fine then. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry your feelings got hurt. Can we please just move on now? Move forward. Your feelings got hurt. Like I was a baby who dropped her ice cream cone. Like 26 years of being his mother could be reduced to hurt feelings. Tyler, I closed my eyes. Do you actually love me? What kind of stupid question is that? Course I love you. You're my mother. Then why did you embarrass me in front of 300 people? I didn't embarrass you. Nicole was upset and I handled the situation. That's what good husbands do. They protect their wives from their mothers when their mothers are being. He stopped himself. Caught the word before it came out. But I heard it anyway in the silence. Difficult. Controlling. Nosy. Whatever Nicole had convinced him I was. I paid for your wedding cake, I said. $2,000. Every penny I had. 'Cause you asked me to help. You also kept giving your opinion about everything else, he said. The hotel. The food. The music. Nicole felt like you were trying to run the whole wedding. I said the hotel looked beautiful. One time. When you showed me pictures and asked what I thought. You said it looked really expensive. I did say that. 'Cause it was expensive. Because the wedding cost more than most people make in a whole year. Because they'd asked me to help pay for it. And I'd given them every dollar I had. Tyler, I drove 5 hours to watch you get married. I wore a dress I couldn't really afford because Nicole wanted fancy clothes. I gave you $2,000 I'd saved for emergencies. And you threw me out like I was garbage. Like I was nothing. It wasn't like that at all. Then what was it like? Explain it to me. No answer. Just breathing. Just silence growing between us like an ocean. And now, I kept talking. 24 hours later you call me up asking for more. Asking me to hand over my family's land so you can destroy it and make money. Asking me to give up everything my great-uncle and daddy worked for. So you and your wife can get rich. We're not destroying anything. We're developing it. There's a difference. Is there really? Mom, be realistic for once. You can't take care of that land forever. You're getting older every day. Your health won't last. Eventually you'll need serious help. And I won't be able to. I'm 56 years old, Tyler. Not 90. But eventually you will be 90. Or 80. Or 70. And then what happens? You'll be stuck on 65 acres you can't handle anymore. Too stubborn to ask anyone for help. Probably falling and breaking bones trying to fix the fence. So you're already planning out my whole decline. How kind of you. I'm being practical and smart. Someone in this family has to be. By destroying my home. By putting me in a retirement village. By helping you move somewhere manageable before it becomes a real emergency and crisis. An emergency. Crisis. My life was a disaster waiting to happen. My home was a burden. My family's history was an inconvenience. The answer is no, I said. The words came out firm. Strong. Final. What do you mean no? No, Tyler. I'm not sending you any property papers. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. You can't do that to me. It's my inheritance. The land is mine, Tyler. Your father left it to me. Not to you. But I'm your son. Your only child. Who else would you even leave it to? I don't know yet. But it definitely won't be someone who kicks me out of their wedding. Then calls the next day demanding I hand over my family's land. His voice turned to ice. Sharp and cutting. You're really going to do this over one little mistake. One mistake. 26 years of unconditional love. Thrown away as one mistake. A lifetime of putting him first. Reduced to being petty because my feelings got hurt. Goodbye, Tyler. Wait. Don't you dare. Hung up. The phone started ringing immediately. Again and again and again. I turned it completely off. Set it face down on the coffee table. The silence was shocking. Complete and total. Overwhelming. I sat in Robert's chair and listened to my house. The wood creaking. The wind outside. The refrigerator humming in the kitchen. I didn't cry. Still couldn't cry. The tears were locked up somewhere deep inside. Behind a wall that wouldn't crack. I slept in that chair all night. When I woke up, gray morning light was coming through the windows. My neck hurt. My back ached. My phone was still turned off on the table where I'd left it. 4 days went by like that. I worked in my garden. Cleaned my whole house. I walked every inch of my property. From one corner to the other. Touching trees my great-uncle had planted with his own hands. Running my fingers along the workshop walls my daddy had built. I visited Robert's grave under the willow tree. Told him everything that had happened. I don't know what to do, I whispered to his headstone. The carved letters of his name felt rough under my fingers. I don't know how to fix any of this. But maybe some things can't be fixed. Maybe some things, once they're broken, stay broken forever. On the 5th day, I finally turned my phone back on. 52 missed calls. 38 text messages. Teen voicemails. I didn't read them all. Didn't listen to them all. But I saw enough to understand. Tyler's messages started out angry. Then turned desperate and begging. Then went back to angry again. Threats mixed with pleas mixed with guilt. You're going to regret this so much. I'll get a lawyer and contest Dad's will. You can't keep me from what's rightfully mine. Please, Mom, I'm begging you on my knees. Nicole's cousin is really mad now. You're destroying everything. I hate you so much. I'm sorry I didn't mean that last message. Please just call me back. Nicole's messages were sneakier. More manipulative, talking about family and love and forgiveness, but making it crystal clear that none of those things mattered at all unless I gave them exactly what they wanted. One voicemail from Tyler made me stop everything, made me sit down on my porch steps and listen to the whole thing. His voice was shaking, breaking apart. I know you're really mad at me. I know I messed everything up. But please, please listen. I'm your son. I'm the only family you have left in this world. Don't throw that away over some piece of land. Just dirt and grass. Or family. That's supposed to actually mean something real. Just dirt and grass. The 65 acres my great-uncle almost died to buy. The land my daddy gave his whole life to protecting. The home I'd shared with Robert for 32 years. The place where every single important memory of my life had happened. Just dirt and grass. I deleted the voicemail. Then I got in my car, drove to town. The lawyer's office was on Oak Street, right next to the coffee shop. I'd used Miss Rebecca before. When Robert died. When I refinanced my mortgage. Her name was Rebecca Walsh. She was smart and careful and didn't waste time talking about nothing. Sarah. She stood up when I walked into her office. I wasn't expecting to see you today. Is everything okay? No, I said. But it's going to be. I told her the whole story. Everything. The wedding. Phone call. The property. Tyler's demands. Nicole's manipulation. The 76 years of family history they wanted to destroy for money. Rebecca listened without saying a single word. When I finished talking, she sat quiet for a long time. Then she said, "What do you want to do about this?" "I want to protect this land," I said. "Forever and ever. I want to make absolutely sure it can never be developed or split up or destroyed. I want to honor everything my great-uncle and daddy sacrificed for." I want to keep the promise I made to my husband before he died. There is a way to do exactly that, Rebecca said. She pulled out a yellow legal pad. Started writing. A land conservancy trust. You give the land to a trust with very specific rules and protections. The land stays natural and wild forever. Protected. Can never be sold or developed by anyone. And what about Tyler? Yes. He wouldn't have any claim to it at all, Rebecca explained. The land would belong to the trust. Not to you anymore. Not to your estate when you die. It would be completely removed from your will. Protected forever and ever. Never developed. Never destroyed. My great-uncle's apple trees would keep growing tall. My daddy's workshop would keep standing strong. The meadow where Robert proposed to me would stay wild and beautiful. And Tyler would get absolutely nothing from it. How fast can we do this? Yes. I can have all the paperwork ready by tomorrow morning, Rebecca said. You'll need to sign everything in front of a notary public. Then we file it with the county and state. It's permanent, Sarah. Once you sign these papers, you absolutely cannot undo it. Ever. Good, I said. That's exactly what I want. Permanent. Forever. I left her office. Drove home through beautiful afternoon sunshine. The mountains looked so clear against the bright blue sky. The trees were green and full of leaves. Everything looked exactly the same as it had 5 days ago. But I was completely different inside. That evening I sat on my back porch. Drank peppermint tea. Watched the sun go down behind the mountains. My phone rang twice. Both times it was Tyler. I didn't answer either call. I had absolutely nothing to say to him. Not until after I signed those papers. Rebecca called me the next morning. Early. The papers are all ready and waiting, she said. Can you come to the office today? I was there in 30 minutes. The documents were thick. So many pages. Full of legal words and rules and protections. Rebecca walked me through every single section. Every clause. Every detail. Every bit of permanence. Once you sign this, she said again, it cannot be undone or changed. The land will belong to the trust forever. You won't be able to sell it. Or develop it. Or pass it to any heirs. I understand completely. You won't be able to change your mind later. No. I won't change my mind. She handed me a pen. Heavy. Expensive. The kind of pen that feels important in your hand. I signed my name on the first page. Sarah Marie Anderson. Then the second page. Then 8 more pages after that. Each signature felt like building a wall. Each signature a shield. Each signature a promise kept to the people I loved. It's done, Rebecca said. She signed her name as witness. Put all the documents in a big envelope. I'll file these with the county this afternoon. The trust will be completely official by the end of this week. My phone buzzed in my purse. I took it out. Do you need to answer that? Rebecca asked me. Yes, I said. Think I really do. I answered the call. Put it on speaker so Rebecca could hear everything. Tyler's voice sounded rough. Tired. Desperate. Please. We can work this whole thing out. I'll do absolutely anything. Just don't shut me out of your life. I'm so sorry. So incredibly sorry for everything I did. Please. I looked at Rebecca. At the envelope of signed papers on her desk. At the pen still in my hand. Tyler, I said. My voice was steady as a rock. Listen very carefully. I'm only saying this one time. Okay. Yes. I'm listening. I'm right here. It's not yours anymore. Complete silence. Total silence. I could hear him breathing on the other end. Could almost hear his brain trying to understand what I just said. What? His voice was tiny. Confused. What do you mean? The land, I said clearly. It's not yours anymore. It never will be yours. I've given it to a land conservancy trust. I signed all the papers 1 hour ago. The land is protected forever. Can never be developed. Never sold. Never split into pieces. More silence. Longer this time. Can't. You can't do that to me. Already did it. But that's my inheritance. You can't just give away my inheritance like that. It was never your inheritance, Tyler. It was my property, given to me by your father. And I've chosen to protect it exactly the way he wanted. The way my great-uncle and daddy would have wanted me to. Whoa. His voice was getting louder. Panicking. Whoa. Can't. I'll fight this. I'll take you to court. I'll hire lawyers. You'll do nothing, I said. Because there's absolutely nothing you can do. The trust is irrevocable. Permanent. Final. There's no fighting it. No undoing it. No changing it. The land will stay wild and natural forever. And you'll never get your hands on it. Never. I could hear Nicole in the background. Her voice high and angry and mean. What did that witch do? You kicked me out of your wedding, I continued talking. You humiliated me in front of 300 people because your wife didn't want me there. Then you called me the very next day, demanding I hand over my family's history so you could destroy it and make money. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences for that? Mom, please, please. I could hear tears in his voice now. My great-uncle lost his hearing working on the railroad to buy this land, I said. My daddy spent 35 years of his life protecting it. Your father made me promise to keep it safe. And I kept that promise. Even from you. Especially from you. You're choosing dirt over your own son. His voice cracked completely. That's what you're doing. Choosing land over me. I'm choosing to honor the people who came before us, I said. The people who gave up everything. Who worked until their bodies broke. Who sacrificed so we could have something real. You had a choice too, Tyler. At your wedding, you chose Nicole over me. Now I've made my choice. I can't believe you'd do this to me. He was actually crying now. Really crying. I'm your son. Your only son. I'm all you have left in the world. No, I said quietly. Only. You were all I had. Past tense. You threw that away when you treated me like trash. When you called me controlling and difficult and nosy. When you demanded my land 24 hours after kicking me out. You made your choice. Now you get to live with it for the rest of your life. Hung up. Turned off my phone completely. Set it down on Rebecca's desk. Are you okay? She asked softly. Yes, I said. And I really meant it. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. 7 months went by. Autumn came with red and gold leaves. Winter arrived with snow that covered everything in white. Made the whole world quiet. The phone calls from Tyler eventually stopped coming. The text messages got less and less. Then stopped completely. The desperate voicemails disappeared. But emails started coming instead. Forwarded from Tyler's lawyer. Threatening to sue me. Claiming I wasn't in my right mind. Demanding I reverse the trust donation immediately. Rebecca handled every single one. Every email. Every threat. Every desperate attempt to undo something that couldn't be undone. His lawyer says Nicole divorced him, Rebecca told me one day in March. We were having lunch at the cafe. Talking about the final trust paperwork. Apparently she filed the divorce papers 3 months ago. I'm not even a little bit surprised, I said. She wanted money. When the money didn't show up, why would she stay with him? His lawyer says Tyler wants to fix things with you. Wants to reconcile. Wants a relationship again. What did you tell the lawyer? That all communication has to go through me. That you're not interested in contact right now. That if Tyler wants any kind of relationship with you, he needs to respect your boundaries. Needs to give you space and time. Ate my soup. Looked out the window at Main Street. People walking past. Cars driving by. Life going on like normal. There's something else I need to show you, Rebecca said. Something important. I looked at her. She pulled out another file from her briefcase. Opened it. Slid a document across the table to me. Your will, she said. The one you updated 12 years ago. Right after Robert died. What about it? I asked. Do you remember what you put in it? I frowned. Tried to remember. I left my personal things to Tyler. My savings account. My car. The house. But the land. The property. You left that to a conservancy trust, Rebecca said. You set it up 12 years ago. You just never activated it until now. I stared at the paper. And my signature at the bottom. The date. April 2013. 3 years after Robert died. I don't remember doing this, I said slowly. Honestly, Robert's lawyer recommended it, Rebecca explained. As protection. In case something happened to you before Tyler was old enough to really understand the land's value. It was a backup plan. Safety net. Just in case. I read through the whole document. Every single word. Every single line. Rebecca was absolutely right. I'd set up a conservancy trust 12 years ago. As a backup, if I died, the land would automatically go to the trust. Tyler would get everything else I owned. But not the property. Never the property. Why didn't you tell me about this before now? Yes. Because you didn't need to know before, Rebecca said. You were handling everything yourself. Making your own choice. But this document shows something really important, Sarah. It shows you've been protecting this land for 12 years. That what you did recently wasn't done in anger. Wasn't revenge. It was the result of 12 years of planning. Of thinking. Caring. I sat back in my chair. Looked out at the gray March sky. Clouds moving fast. I'd completely forgotten about this document. Robert's lawyer suggested it right after the funeral. I was so numb from grief. I just signed whatever he put in front of me. Didn't even think about it. But you did sign it, Rebecca said gently. Some part of you knew. Even back then. Even when Tyler was younger. Before he met Nicole. Some part of you already knew the land needed protecting. Maybe she was right. Maybe I'd always known. Known that Tyler might someday choose money over family history. Choose easy over meaningful. Choose himself over everyone who came before. Or maybe I was just a widow trying to honor her husband's last words. Trying to keep a promise to a dying man. Either way, the end result was exactly the same. The land was protected. Forever. Spring came early that year. By April, wildflowers bloomed everywhere across the meadow. Purple ones, yellow ones, white ones, pink ones, like a painting. I walked through them every single morning. Felt sunshine on my face. Listened to birds singing their songs. Breathed air that smelled like flowers and dirt and growing things. I started bringing school groups to my property. Kids from the city who'd never seen real mountains. Never walked through a forest. Never looked up at a sky full of stars. I taught them about nature. About plants and animals. About conservation and protection. About legacy and sacrifice. About the responsibility we all have to protect beautiful things for people who aren't even born yet. The kids absolutely loved it. They ran through the tall grass. Climbed the apple trees. Explored the old workshop. They asked 1,000 questions. Got mud all over their clothes. Laughed until they couldn't breathe anymore. They reminded me why this land mattered so much. Why protecting it was worth everything. Even worth losing my son. 'Cause these kids, these complete strangers, they appreciated the land more in one single afternoon than Tyler had appreciated it in 26 years. In May, I got a letter in my mailbox. Not an email. Real letter. In an envelope. Tyler's handwriting on the front. I sat on my porch steps and opened it. 4 pages. Front and back. His handwriting was messy. Rushed. Like he'd written the whole thing without stopping once. It was an apology. A real actual apology this time. He wrote about the wedding. About kicking me out. About how Nicole had convinced him I was trying to control everything. About how he'd been so focused on his new life that he forgot completely about the life that made it possible. He wrote about the property. About how wrong he'd been to demand it from me. How he hadn't understood the history behind it. Hadn't respected the sacrifices. Hadn't valued what it meant to me. To our whole family. He wrote about Nicole leaving him. About realizing she'd never actually loved him at all. She'd loved money. Loved what his inheritance could buy her. When that disappeared, she disappeared too. He wrote about being alone now. About finally understanding what I must have felt. About regret and shame. About wishing desperately he could undo things that can't be undone. The last part made me cry. For the first time since the wedding. Made tears finally fall down my face. Mom, I know I don't deserve to be forgiven. I know I hurt you in ways that can't ever be fixed or healed. But I want you to know something. Understand now. I understand what you did and why you did it. You kept your promise to Dad. You protected our family's history. You honored Great Uncle Ray and Grandpa. I'm sorry it took losing everything for me to finally see the truth. I love you, Mom. I'll always love you. Even if you never want to speak to me again for the rest of your life. Love you. Your son, Tyler. I folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, sat there on my porch steps, cried until I had no tears left. Cried for my son. For the relationship we used to have. For the innocence that was lost forever. For the trust that got broken into a million pieces. But I didn't call him. Didn't write back. Not yet. Not now. Maybe someday. When enough years had passed. When enough healing had happened inside both of us. When I could look at him without seeing Nicole's mean smile. Without hearing him say those words. You need to go now, Mom. Maybe someday we talk again. But not today. Not tomorrow. Not for a long time. The property exploded with life that spring and summer. Everything so green. So alive. So full of growing. The apple trees my great-uncle planted reached higher and higher toward the sky. The workshop my daddy built stood strong and solid against every storm. The meadow where Robert proposed to me filled up with thousands of wildflowers. And I walked through it all. Lone. But not lonely. Knowing I'd kept my promise to everyone I loved. Knowing I'd protected what truly mattered. Knowing that long after I'm gone from this world, this land will still be here. Wild, free, untouched by greed. My great-uncle planted apple trees he never got to eat fruit from. My daddy built a workshop for grandchildren he never lived to meet. My husband made me promise to protect this land. Even from our own son if necessary. And I kept that promise. Because real legacy isn't about what you leave behind for people to take. It's about what you refuse to let be destroyed by people who don't understand its value. Some of you watching this right now know exactly how this feels. When the people you die for treat you like you're disposable. Like you're nothing. When everything you sacrificed gets forgotten the second it becomes inconvenient for them. When love only goes one direction. When expectations turn into demands. And you finally realize you've been giving pieces of your soul to someone who sees you as a thing to use. Not a person to love. But here's the truth I learned sitting in that lawyer's office with a pen in my shaking hand. Real love isn't measured by how much we give to people. It's measured by whether those people value what we give. Or whether they exploit it. Take it for granted. Demand more and more until we have nothing left. And sometimes the most loving thing we can do. For ourselves. And even for them. Is to let people face the real consequences of their choices. Let them learn the hard way. My son learned that lesson. The hardest way possible. Maybe you're teaching someone that same lesson right now in your own life. Maybe you're the one learning it. To everyone who's been pushed aside. Counted out. Told you're too old. Too difficult. Too sensitive. Too much. Listen to me. You're not finished. Your story isn't over yet. Not even close. Your worth isn't determined by people who are too blind to see it. And your legacy, your real legacy, that's yours to protect. Nobody else's. What lesson from this story hit you the hardest? Got under your skin? Made you think? And if you were standing in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you have protected the land like I did? Or would you have chosen differently? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. Don't stop watching here. Click the next video on your screen right now. Watch another powerful story from Granny's voice. There's so much more you need to hear. More stories that matter. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, so you never miss stories like this one. And share your thoughts down in the comments below. Tell me what you would have done in my situation. Tell me what this story taught you about life. About family. About protecting what matters. I read every single comment. Every single one. See you in the next story.